Hi, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Conscious Counsel podcast with your host, Cory Sterling. Today, I'm so happy to be joined by Laura Wieck, who is the owner and founder of Body Mind Coaching. Laura, what's going on?
What is going on? Goodness, I was just telling you, I'm having one of those mornings where life is life-in, and I'm excited, grateful to be here and to hang out with you.
Cool.
So, yeah.
I really appreciate your time, and I think that our audience is going to have a lot that they can learn from us. Maybe you could just tell us a little bit about it with Body Mind Coaching, who you help, and why the conversation we're going to have is important for health and wellness professionals, obviously, who do a lot of body work and massage therapy, but also other businesses that might be restrained by the limitations they have with how many hours are on the clock each day.
Yeah, so I started off as a massage therapist and basically realized that when I was working, I was spending extra time talking with my clients. They would come in, unload everything that was happening in their life, and just realized that when I actually sat down and looked at all of the extra time I was spending, the invisible labor that I was providing, I was literally giving away at least 6 figures of income every year for free. And when my husband and I encountered some fertility issues that required me to cut back on the amount of work that I was doing, and yet put down a $15,000 deposit to do IVF to try and get pregnant, it forced me to think about the work that I was doing differently. And it really made me realize that there is so much value in the conversations that we have with our clients. And for a lot of service-based professionals, even beyond the holistic space, you're doing more than just the service-based work that you provide. And that conversation, when it has a skill set, when it has a structure to it, it can be one of the most powerful things that you offer the people around you. And so that realization really took me into pursuing coaching, for me to get certified. And then I started training other holistic practitioners how to integrate an effective and ethical communication structure into their service-based work, and charge for it, and start to basically scale this simple, ordinary thing that they were doing with their clients. I showed them how you can actually value something that feels so simple, which for a lot of our people is their presence. And that's how it came to be.
That's really beautiful. And I know you work with a lot of massage therapists and body workers, and you talk about growing beyond the treatment table. I'm curious, what's the moment that usually triggers someone to start thinking in that particular way?
Oh, that is a great question. So for a lot of our folks, and I felt this way too, I felt called into that service-based holistic work. And when I found massage for myself, it was just this beautiful combination of, helping people, and I love anatomy and physiology. It was amazing. And so I thought this was going to be my life's work. And for a lot of our folks, they get into this work, they want to help people, it feels good, it's amazing, and then they start to hit that upper limit, that invisible ceiling. Usually they're book solid, they're amazing at what they do, they have referrals, they have clientele, and there comes a point where they're one, they feel like there's something more to their work, but two, they're struggling with where to fit it in, because energetically they're maxed out, right? It's a physical work, it's a physical profession, and they want to reach a next level, but they're struggling with how to do that when they don't feel like they have the time or energy capacity to fit it in. And I think that there's just this point of I don't know if you had it, I see this a lot. There's just this inner reckoning. A lot of them, the uncomfortable feeling is that they feel like they're a fraud, because here they are helping.
That's called imposter syndrome.
I would say maybe, but I would even say it's something else. It's for them, they are sitting here helping people, telling people how to care for their bodies, how to honor and listen to their bodies and do all this stuff, but they're not doing it in the way that they work. And so it's, yes, I would say it's imposter syndrome, but I think it's even more fundamentally because imposter syndrome tends to put the responsibility on their shoulders, like something's wrong with them that they need to fix. In my mind, it was the system that taught them this was how they're supposed to work. Give this extra time away
Okay.
for free. Don't charge too much. Max out your schedule to be successful. And like, and then when you are successful, you feel like shit because you're not actually caring for yourself in the way that you're working.
Got it. Yeah. I'm so that lands, that really resonates. And I'm curious, how do you work with someone, let's say they come to you and they say, "Hey, I've got this thriving business and it's going great, but I'm not able to take care of myself. My schedule's totally booked. I think I could be earning more money. I don't get have enough time to spend time with my family." Like, what's square one in a situation like
Yeah,
that?
square one is to look at what you're already doing that is providing value that you're probably not charging for. So again, there's this funny little place, and I do have a training. It's a $27 training. I'm happy to share it with you if that would be supportive for your audience. It's called the hybrid growth training because most of these people, I can guarantee if you're amazing at what you do, if you genuinely care about people, even if you're spending like 5, 10, 15 minutes extra with those clients, talking to them, providing tools or resources or stretches, meditations, breathing exercises. If if you're doing that, you are giving away value for free. And so one of the things that we start with is creating sessions that actually account for that extra time. And if I were to give a practical example, so this was me. I was charging at the time $85 an hour, but I spaced out my appointments between my clients at least 30 minutes because I knew my clients would stay. They would show up early, they would stay, they would talk. And when I sat down and realized that I was giving away, on average, some clients it was 15 minutes, 30 minutes. I had clients that would literally stay and talk for an hour. When I actually sat down and looked at, on average, 30 minutes extra per client, I was seeing about 20 clients a week. I'm hoping, Cory, we can do math really quickly. But that was 10 hours a week. I was already doing it. I wasn't charging for it, even though my schedule was accounting for it. 10 hours a week times $85 of those rates. That's $850 a week that I was not charging for. I think when you look on that over a year, it's somewhere like $42,000 that I was not charging for. And so the number one shift that I did is I actually started accounting for all of what I was doing inside of my sessions. And I know this is the point where a lot of folks are like, "Oh, but I can't. And, I don't want to be selfish. I don't want to be greedy." But the thing is, that free advice, that free time, is actually not serving the client either because they haven't said, "Yes, I actually want to solve the problem. Yes, that solution that you're giving me, it's valuable and I'm going to follow through on it." And so when you actually start accounting for all of the work you're doing in your sessions, it supports the client in taking ownership and stepping into it so they can receive it too.
I love it, and it makes sense. Even where my mind goes is if you're a Pilates instructor that does privates, if you're a
Yes.
yoga instructor that does privates, if you're a personal trainer that does privates,
Hairstylist.
you probably do.
Hairstylist.
Sure, hairstylist too. I mean, I don't cut my hair that often, so that's a bit outside of my expertise. But I think, like, yeah, I think it makes sense even to have something you could build in, like decompression, and just call it decompression. And teaching the class is X amount, and then if you want to continue and have a conversation afterwards, it can be a certain amount. So let me ask you a question. I know you talk a lot about having an aligned business strategy. What does that mean in practice, especially for someone who feels uncomfortable with the ideas of marketing or selling? How do you change the paradigm so that people are open to
Oh,
it?
goodness. I feel like there's so many angles that I could go at with that. So for me, I'll just quickly define what alignment is for me, because I actually believe that alignment is a physiological process. It's not just some woo-woo thing that we say when something feels good. So for me, alignment is, and this is what we teach inside of our coach training, is how to actually physiologically give voice to the body and utilize that energy inside of the coaching conversation in the session. But alignment to me is where the brain in your body, your enteric nervous system at your pelvic bowl, when how you want to feel is connected to that sense of purpose in your heart, is connected to the action and how you're moving forward from there. And so in terms of sales and marketing, what often happens is the first place we have to look is if you have a belief that sales is gross and slimy and marketing feels false and fake and whatever and performative, well, of course you're not going to want to do it. But when you're talking to your best friend and inviting them to dinner to your favorite restaurant, you're selling. When you're sharing that product that you absolutely cannot live without, you're marketing. And so for me, I think about, to me, it really comes back to, I teach a conversational sales process where the thing that I see with the people I work with is they genuinely value connection, community, and service. And when you can start to feel the power of those values, right? And share the things that you are passionate about through that lens of connection, community, and being of service, that is a marketing strategy that's actually going to feel good. And that to me is like I just think of marketing and sales as how can I talk to people I care about and help them remember that they're more powerful than they realize, and that if they were to simply take a step forward to say yes to themselves in a deeper way and receive the support to get there, their life changes. That, to me, it is sales and marketing from alignment is really an act of love and connection. And you are not doing anybody any favors by playing small, by lowering your rates, thinking that that's helping everybody. A lot of times it's actually stopping people from making the aligned decision that they need to make.
Yeah, it's powerful, and it is a strong shift of thinking of sales and marketing is instead of sales. How many, especially if anyone is in a relationship with their partner, how many things you're selling with your partner all the time of what our plans should be this weekend, where our next vacation should go, and then marketing also is about products that you love, and it's so beautiful because at the end of the day, everyone who's listening is a health and wellness entrepreneur, and they need to put themselves first. And so I think that your invitation in terms of sort of a time audit as step one to think, okay, well, where am I spending time that I'm not getting paid for? And, you shared your example, which is great. I think everyone who's listening can do that. Last question before we wrap things up. How does one broach the topic with a client? Let's say, I'm a yoga teacher, I'm a Pilates teacher, and then my clients always stay 15 minutes later, and we have a coffee, and I want to try to monetize that. What is step one of that conversation look like?
That is a great question, and I just want to say, so again, at the foundation of everything I teach is I genuinely believe that your life changes one conversation at a time. I believe that sales is a conversation, marketing is a conversation. It all comes back to understanding the strategy and structure of effective communication inside of your everyday conversations. And so we've probably all heard this. It's called boundaries, right? The way that we broach this in terms of making this transition, you have the client you've been seeing for years who always spends 15, 20 minutes extra at every appointment. You got to start with your boundaries. So number one, they come in, they start talking. Hey, we have until 1:30 today. How do you want to use your time? Right there, I'm actually saying like, hey, there's a boundary here. And the second
Yep.
thing that we teach, and again, I go more into the actual structure of how this gets to look inside of that hybrid growth training. But the second thing that we go into from there is then when they keep talking, I like to have one, I like to just reflect. It sounds like you've got a lot. It sounds like you've got a lot going on. What this does is it's so simple, but it actually is affirming to their nervous system that they're being seen and witnessed, and it builds trust in you and also in themselves. Okay, so it sounds like you've got a lot going on. Yes, I feel seen, I feel witnessed. And then if they keep talking, what you're describing is the body-mind connection in action, where what's happening in your life is getting literally stuck in your tissues. And I know we're here for a massage appointment today. I know we're here to do our Pilates. We absolutely will do that. And what I know is that if you really want to create like relief from what you're experiencing, that requires a deeper conversation. And if you'd like, we could totally take the next 90 minutes. We can still do the massage, but we can also take some time to really get to the root of what's happening here so that you can move forward from our session today feeling a lot better.
Beautiful. I'm sold.
So like,
where do I
yeah.
where do I sign up? No, it's that's beautiful. I love it. And Laura, I'll look. You're a fantastic communicator. It's very, very clear that you've spent a lot of time working on communication skills, and even that framing of it sounds like you've got a lot going on is very, very powerful.
Yeah.
Like that's powerful.
It
sets the frame.
There's, again, I could talk about this forever, but one, so you're establishing the boundary, you're creating that like that witnessing, that connection, which is really important for the nervous system. You're you're also getting the buy-in. When I say, hey, you're talking about this body-mind connection, right? What's happening in your life is getting stuck in your tissues, right? You're creating buy-in. If somebody's like, yeah, whatever, I don't believe that shit. Great, get on the table, right? But It creates the buy-in. The other thing is let's say, they're still talking after that you've come to the end of that session. Now what you've done is you can say, hey, even if they're like, no, I just want a massage. No, I just want to do my normal yoga Pilates thing. Great, let's do it. If they come back now and keep talking, you now have this line that you can come back to and say, hey, I still hear you talking, and this is really what I do inside of my alignment sessions. Our clients learn how to do their body-mind hybrid sessions. This is what I teach and help you with inside of those sessions. And it sounds like there might be some value in that. So how about next time we actually schedule out a full 90 minutes so that we really have time to explore what's going on here.
Beautiful. I love it, Laura. Thanks so much for sharing everything. As we wrap up here, I want to thank you for your time and all the information you shared. I know it's going to help a lot of people. Maybe you can just let people know where they can reach out to you and how they can connect.
I'm most active, I would say, on Instagram and Substack. I love Substack. So on Instagram at Laura Wieck, Substack also Laura Wieck. And if you want to check out or learn more about Body Mind Coaching, you can go to thenewbodymindcom.
Awesome. We'll send everyone there. Thanks, Laura.
Cory.
Appreciate
Thanks
it so
for the time.
much. Ciao.